demons, and welcome to Warhammer Weekly episode 73, and this time around we actually have a good amount to talk about, and I do have one thing to talk about in terms of pickups, so we're going to jump straight into that right after this intro.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
So, as always, with another month, we get another set of issues of Stormbringer, so I don't think I have them in order in the pile here, but we'll just go through them anyway. So, starting with 67, we have Stormcast Vanquishers, which, yeah, as I always say, not really a thing that I care too much about, any of these Stormcast stuff, but yeah, still pretty cool, and yeah, some nice units there. Then for issue 69, yeah, definitely not in order, we do have more terrain with the Domicile Shell. I think that's what it's supposed to be. But yeah, more terrain, which is always appreciated. Some good stuff here. Then for issue 70, we do have something for me, the Iron Skulls boys, and yeah, my first Iron Skulls. Like, legitimately, my first Iron Skulls. I don't have anything else from them, so some very cool stuff there. The more tribalistic, more aggressive orcs from AOS, and yeah, definitely going to make good additions to my army. And then we also have, from issue 68, the Orc Mega Boss. And yeah, this is definitely a model I've wanted. I've definitely thought about getting it a few times. Now I have it, so... but yeah, definitely a good model. I do like the like dragon skull sort of design on the shoulder there. And yeah, that is it for standard issues. But I did also get Premium Kit 4, and this is for my Gloomspike Gits, as you can see there. So this is actually, if it actually, does it tell me on here? It's the, oh, where are they? It's the Dank Cold Troggoth. It's a free pack of them, so not necessarily the most interesting of premium kits, but definitely one that I've been looking forward to, because obviously my main thing, a lot of the time, is Auric, is Gloomspike Gits and stuff like that, so yeah, definitely one that I'm looking forward to actually getting built. And they are some of the smaller models in the premium side of this subscription, so yeah, I might get to them sooner than most of the other stuff that I've got so far. But yeah, in any case, that is everything for pickups, so yeah, let's just jump straight back into the topics. So, jumping into the topics, we are starting off with some more Blood Angels reveals. Obviously, we've had a lot of them recently, and quite honestly, as someone who isn't a huge fan of the Blood Angels, kind of getting bored of them, but this is actually something that I think is quite interesting on the premise that it is a old model being revisited, actually a whole set of models being revisited and actually brought into modern 40k, starting off with the Sanguinor. So this is an interesting character. Essentially it is either a psychic manifestation created by the Blood Angels as like a chapter, as like a legion, whatever you want to call them, or it is literally sanguineous, like reincarnated in a psychic form. It's a very interesting creature. It's a single entity. It's not like it's a mantle passed on or anything like that, or it's not like a champion, anything like that. It's just one specific guy who just kind of appears. I think that's really, really interesting. The old model is one of the more hit or miss, one of the more Marmite models in, you know, Warhammer history. I personally quite like it. I think it looks pretty good, but it has aged, and I think this is a very nice revisit of that same model. And yeah, there's a lot of nice details on it. I love how the cup actually has like liquids like sloshing around in it. I'm not as big a fan of the mask here as with the original version of this model, or the previous version of this model at the very least. But otherwise, I think this is a very, very good Sanguinor. And yeah, I love the flying pose with the tapestry coming off. And yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff going on here. There's not much else to say about it. It's a very good model. And, you know, of a character that I'm sure plenty of Blood Angels fans and people that are just, you know, casually into Blood Angels are going to really enjoy. A lot of fluid movement, a lot of lighting that you could do, lighting effects and stuff that you could do on him. And, yeah, otherwise, energy sword or power sword, whatever you want to call it. And not much else going on, which, you know, as simple as he is, he does look great. I love the posing. And, yeah, Of course, with the Sanguinor being, revisited, that does mean we're going to get the Sanguinary Guard. And yeah, these guys are essentially just toned down, I guess, versions of the Sanguinor. And yeah, they look fine. We've got a more, action posy one. One that's got a flag on his spear, which I think is really ineffective, I will say. It is interesting how some of them have wrist-mounted bolters, whereas some of them are just holding the bolt pistol. Kind of interesting enough itself, but yeah, I'm sure that is to do with the modifications and the variations. In fact, I think the one that I'm thinking has a bolter. I think that might actually be a flamer. I'm not 100% sure. It's hard to tell, but the barrel does look more like a flamer now I'm looking at it again. But either way, very cool. All have their power weapons. And yeah, all good models, all good revisitings of Sanguinary Guard. And once again, if you're a fan of Blood Angels, you're probably going to be wanting a few of these guys because they are good units from memory. Their rules are actually pretty good. So yeah, for playing them, they're pretty good. For aesthetics, if you like the big jetpacks and the wings and stuff like that for Blood Angels, they're one of the best for it. Like, I do legitimately think that Sanguinary Guard and the Sanguinor are just excellent units, especially if you're wanting something that has the big jetpacks, the big wings, that sort of aesthetic. It's all there. It's all right in the Sanguinary. And yeah, they just look really, really good. And then, obviously, we also have the regular Sanguinary... We have the Tacticus Mark X armor, the Mark 10 armor anyway. These don't have the wings, or at least don't have them as prevalently. I think one of them does actually have the wings. But yeah, I believe these are all in the same kit. But yeah, they look slightly different, have slightly different backpacks, and you do have the helmet off options. In terms of, I think for the most part, these are the same. I say, there's definitely going to be some differences you can make using the kit. I'm trying to actually tell. It's hard to say if you can just not have the wings on the jetpacks, because one of them doesn't look to have the wings at all from the picture. You can kind of see it on the other two, but one of them just doesn't seem to have it at all, which is kind of interesting, whereas on the main images, they all do have the wings. I could just be seeing things, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some way to just not have the wings if you don't want them. It would also allow for more modification, which GW has been trying to, lean into, I feel, a little bit recently. There's a lot of kit bash potential with a lot of the Space Marine units, especially, just because I think they know how much Space Marine fans like to just turn everything into their faction, into their chapter, into their legion, whatever. So, yeah, either way, very cool new models. And, yeah, I personally, even as someone who isn't interested in Blood Angels, I'm a fan of these. I think they look really good. Definitely, if you're going to have some Blood Angels, you may as well have the Sanguinary Guard and Sanguinor. So, yeah, lovely to see them revisited, reimagined, recreated, just with new models. And, yeah, that is really all I can say about it. But moving on over to Kill Team, we do have the new reveal of Operation Hivestorm. And, yeah, this one is very exciting to me. I'll get the less interesting thing out of the way first, and that is the Imperial side, the Imperium side, this being the Tempestus Aquilons. So, just a different Tempestus unit. Obviously, we've had the Scions introduced in Kill Team, and I think there's a different one that I just can't remember the name of. But yeah, Tempestus units, they're just very highly skilled guard, essentially. And yeah, you actually get a nice selection of units within the box for this team. So, they actually do a great job of actually naming them all. We have the Tempestor, who has pretty basic setup, it seems. A little bolt pistol, power sword, just your normal kind of leader unit. There's the Gunfighter, who's dual-wielding bolt pistols, which looks pretty good. I'm assuming all of them are going to have the helmet on or helmet off options, if you are, interested in either of those. But yeah, we get a little bit of variety. I like how the Tempestor has the little beret. But yeah, I definitely do prefer, as with all things in Imperium, I do prefer the helmet option, so yeah. We also have the Gunner with just a more general flamer. It does seem, I could be wrong there. Once again, I'm going off the barrel. And the Marksman, which is your sniper unit. Not as big of a sniper as we usually actually get. I assume it's because a lot of these weapons are going to be highly modifiable, like in universe. Kind kind of makes me think of the commando weapons, the clone commando weapons from Star Wars, how they can just be modified into whatever the user needs. But yeah, looks pretty interesting. The marksman there and the gunner, which is two pretty standard units. Then we also have the precursor, which is bolt pistol and dagger, which is a very weird combination in my opinion, but yeah, very neat there. I assume more of a close quarters sort of operative. We also have the grenadier, which I assume is kind of the opposite. The explosives expert, someone who kind of holds back, takes out from a distance with high explosives, can destroy groups, stuff like that. Then we also have 4 different troopers. So these guys have all got pretty standard looking, well, I say bolt weapons. Some of them seem to be energy weapons, but it's not anything, it's not like plasma by the looks of it. It's kind of hard to tell because some of them are wired up. Most of them, they've all got barrels. Not barrels, they've all got magazines, I don't know. Or drums, I guess is more accurate to say. But yeah, they all seem to be holding some sort of bolter or heavy bolter, something like that. And yeah, they're just your standard Tempestus units, really. There's not really too much different from the Scions. Obviously, Scions do have their own little quirks, but not really anything too individual about the troopers here. They do look good, though. A nice variety, but getting 4 of them that are all unique is, of course, very nice. And the potential to, maybe make them into heavier weapon units, potentially. I don't know. They're not showing that, but yeah, you never know. And then, finally, we do have the Servo Sentry. Just a servo skull attached into a turret. We've kind of seen this. Like, we've never seen specifically a servo sentry. It's always like some sort of turret emplacement, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. 4-leg tripod, not tripod, I guess quad pod. You've got a few different weapon varieties. So you've got a heavy bolter by the looks of it, a heavy flamer unit, and then I forget, are they called like mag cannons? The grenade cannon anyway, the grenade launcher. So yeah, nice variety there, and overall, this is, for an Imperial, like, more guard-centric team, this is pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of the guard teams in general, but I don't have an issue with this. I think it's perfectly fine. It gives enough variety. This doesn't seem too similar to anything we currently have, though I'm sure, gameplay-wise, they're probably going to play very similarly to Scions, but yeah, still pretty cool, and gives a bit more variety for Imperial units. If you're not a fan of, if you're more of a guard player, you're going to want a bit more variety within your armies, within your teams, stuff like that. So this just gives you more options. It gives you more stuff to play with, and I don't think there's really an issue with that. But the real reason I'm excited for this new Kill Team box is because it brings the return of Vespid Stingwings. So obviously one of the, tertiary species as part of the Tau Empire. And these guys, their old models are very old. I think they're going on 20 years at this point. And yeah, I like them enough, but they are old. And they needed an update. And, especially with all the Kroot stuff going on, I was waiting for the Vespids. I think I've said a few times that I was looking forward to Vespids actually getting an update. And it's here. So once again, we do have a bunch of, not necessarily named units, but we have the actual category that they are filling. Starting off with the Skyblast. This is a flying unit with some sort of, I'd assume, heavy launcher, maybe a laser cannon. It's kind of hard to say. Tau weapons, I can never really identify from looking at them, despite how much Tau I play, because I mostly play Kroot. Kroot don't typically have the generic Tau weaponry, so while I can generally recognize like a pulse rifle, beyond that, I don't really know their weapons. But yeah, the Skyblast seems to have some sort of heavier, energy-based weapon or rocket-based weapon. It's hard to tell. And yeah, he looks pretty good. I like the posing, the flying is very nice. And obviously, Vespids as a whole can fly. I'm sure they'll all have the fly key. Well, I say the fly keyword. That's not a thing in 10th edition. But, they'll all have very high speed. That's kind of their entire niche. They're, still range like a regular Tau, but they are also way faster, but tend to be... Actually, I was going no, because Tau are just generally weak. Vespids are actually pretty powerful for Tau units. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, look very cool, the Skyblast here. The Strain Leader. So this is obviously your captain equivalent or lieutenant equivalent, I suppose. And, yeah, he also has some sort of plasma rifle, some sort of... All their weapons, having already looked through all these models, because I was very excited for these, none of their weapons are outright the standard Tau weaponry. They all seem to be slightly modified. I don't know if this is because Tau are going to get some sort of minor or maybe even major update to their standard weaponry, but all of them look a little bit customized, and I'm sure that's just down to Vespid ingenuity sort of thing. They are a team, not team. They are a species that does kind of do that sort of modification to weapons, and has all their specialist equipment. They are kind of the commandos of the Tau Empire. But yeah, this guy looks pretty good. I like the masks. I don't think that's something from memory. I don't think that's something that the Vespids had, was like masks or helmets or anything like that. So nice variety there. I do quite like that. Speaking of the faces, actually, just going back to the Skyblast, I like the eyes. The 6 eyes look great. Once again, from memory, I can't think what the faces of Vespids actually looked like in the old model. But regardless, these look so good. And yeah, it's such a glow up. Honestly, it's such an improvement over the old models. Like I don't actually own the old Vespid units. I will be getting them just because I try and get all of the, non-Tau Empire units. So I'll probably buy that box just to have it, just like I did with all the Kroot stuff that I didn't have yet. Because I currently have all Kroot units since like 2002 or something. Like every Kroot unit that's been released. But that's beside the point. Vespids definitely need to get those at some point in the near future. But yeah, the Strain Leader looks excellent. I really like the weapon design, the little crystal coming out of it. Very nice. We also have the Long Sting. This is your sniper equivalent. This is probably the most standardized weapon you see out of all these guys. Yeah, it looks very Tau. It's a very standard weapon. I like this is like the proper first look we've got, like the clearest look, should I say, of like the Thorax. The little pincer on it. Very iconic, like stylization of the Vespid. So very much liking that. And obviously Stingwings. There's a reason why they're called Stingwings. But yeah, the Long Sting, very, very nice with their sniper rifle. Otherwise, nothing different about them. Like, without the weapon, they are just a regular Vespid, which is kind of interesting. And you could say about all of them that the weapon is the thing that makes them different. But yeah, I guess like we said about Swarm Guard, the next one up. So another one carrying a pretty heavy-looking weapon. Definitely a different weapon to the Skyblast. Different style of barrel, different style of energy container, whatever, like the power source, the battery, I suppose. And also appears to have some sort of backpack, which all of them may have that, but you can't really tell if they do. But I assume that's not like a backpack for flight. Seems as, they are flying creatures. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I'd assume they just use their wings for flight. Maybe it's a booster. Maybe it gives them extra speed. Who knows? But yeah, in any case, very cool there. The Swarm Guard and Long Sting. Then we have the Shade Strain, the most armored of them all. So this is probably the most different of them all. Like, this guy is way more heavily armored. Still has, like, the mask like the leader did. Has shoulder pads, like pretty standard Tau shoulder pads. A bit of a chest plate and some gauntlets as well. Overall, this guy looks like he's probably the heavy enforcer type. So has, explosives, has what looks like more of a shotgun style weapon, like a shorter range weapon. I'd assume this is the kind of run and gun, sort of runs straight in, destroys some units, and then retreats or dies sort of unit. Maybe even like the explosive in his hand, at least I assume it's an explosive, might even be some sort of like, if I die, every unit within certain range of me gets injured sort of thing. Just because he does have his thumb, or whatever you want to call it, his little pointer over what looks like a button, like almost if he's holding it down. That could be interesting. Like, I don't want to say what that would be like, but yeah, it would be a very interesting playstyle to definitely use, and I'm sure plenty of people would enjoy that. And then we have, just like with the Tempestus Aquilons, we do have our standard warriors. We do have 4 of them. Oh, no, we have 5 of them. My bad. We actually have 5 of them. And they all have pretty standard weapons. They actually have what looks to be the same weapon as the leader, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same weapon. It looks slightly different, but I think it's just because of the painting has been done slightly differently on them. But yeah, they're in a nice variety of poses. Nothing too special about them. They all kind of look the same, which is understandable. They all do also have, having a closer look at some of them, they definitely have that thing on the back. So I'm not sure if that is like a booster or something like that, but they definitely have backpacks on regardless. And yeah, these guys look great. Honestly, such an upgrade compared to the last version of the Vespid Stingwings. And yeah, of course, it's Tau. You have to have a drone. So we do have an oversight drone. This will just be something to reveal enemies or reveal objectives or whatever. And yeah, it looks alright. It looks like a slightly updated version of the Tau drone, which yeah, we've got plenty of those in the past. I do like the skull on the base there. And yeah, that is all for the Vespid Stingwings. They look absolutely excellent. I'm very, very excited for these. And, of course, they are going to be coming in the Hivestorm box, which is also going to have a bit of terrain in it. So, some very Imperial-looking structures. It's a shame we're not getting anything Tau-related or, at least Tau-inspired. But, yeah, still looks very good. Some good, cathedral-style buildings. And then there's both going to be a core book and the Hivestorm dossier. So, pretty standard stuff for Kill Team if you're, someone who keeps up with that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's going to be some different measuring sticks for one, which is interesting enough in itself. But yeah, some barricades, some walls, a few different, objective markers, ladders, stuff like that. Just stuff to kind of mix up how you play. It's going to be good for kill team boards, customizing them, just to have some slightly different things. Even mine traps, which are pretty cool. And, yeah, then, other than that, you've just got your counters, your cards, your typical not team kill, your typical kill team stuff. And yeah, there's not much else I can say about it, but yeah, so glad the Vespids are back. And yeah, now I'll just shut up about Tau for a bit. Unless there's more crew or Vespid stuff. Generally that's the stuff I care about for Tau. So I'd assume we're not going to get anything else for a while, unless we get some more standard Vespid Stingwings. For regular 40k at some point in the near future, but I kind of doubt it. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this topic. Which leaves us with our final topic of the week, which is, of course, the Rumour Engine for the 13th of August 2024. This time around, it is a robotic arm. And I don't know what that actually means. It kind of looks like it's potentially for actually construction of some kind. It looks kind of like it would have maybe a blowtorch attachment to it almost. I'm not actually completely sure, but in any case, it looks kind of Imperium. I'm actually leaning a little bit on Votan here. Normally with stuff like this, I would say, oh, well, it's going to be Mechanicum of some kind, but no, I'm definitely leaning on Votan, especially with a little bit of spikiness. It could obviously be a Chaos Tech Marine. I forget what they're actually called. But it could be something like that. But yeah, I'm definitely leaning Votan here. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that is definitely what it's screaming to me. And yeah, that's really all I can say about it. It looks interesting. Details nice on it. Little bolts and stuff. But yeah, nothing that is really screaming any obvious answers at me. But with all that being said, that is going to be it for this episode of Warhammer Weekly. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe from the and ring the bell so you never miss upload. Otherwise, comment below thoughts, feelings about any of the topics. What are your thoughts on the Vespids? What, do you like the Vespids? I like the Vespids. Are you excited for finally having new models for the Vespid Stingwings? They are one of the only, other than the crew, it's always, Tau, actual Tau, Kroot, and then Vespids have always just been this other thing that GW have always kept alive, but on life support. So we're finally getting new stuff for Vespids, which is really exciting. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, leave in the comments below. And I do try and respond to things. I know I don't always. I do try, trust me. I'm very busy. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it from me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but we'll survive. I just wanna take